This video is brought to you by Sheath. Yeah, it's the Bears. It's what the Chicago people talk like, right? I have no idea. I have no clue. I've been outside of Chicago twice to a place called Schaumburg. And even then, I was like, what is Chicago? What makes them them? I've been told that they are a thing, but I don't know how. But then I watched Chicago Party Ants. Oh yeah, we're talking about this. And for those who don't know, the reason why I'm talking about this is because about a few weeks ago, about a month ago or so, there was Twitter drama surrounding the launch, the announcement of this series on Netflix. Allow me to elaborate. By the way, full-on synopsis. Chicago Party Ants is the newest adult animated series on Netflix. Now let's bring it back to like a month ago. Articles were popping up. Chicago Party Ants, Twitter famous, organic, one of the internet celebrities, has gotten its own Netflix show. Wow, I can't believe it, said the articles. While people were like, what are you talking about? What is Chicago Party Ants? 50,000 followers? Not bad, but I wouldn't call you an internet celebrity. It caught a lot of folks off guard, where they're like, what are you talking about? And I was one of those people. And then it turns out, with these online detectives, that this account is a bit of a corporate account where it promotes things like businesses in Chicago, which isn't inherently bad because it is a Chicago account. It's kind of the point, to talk about Chicago things and point it out and be like, remember the Cubs and the baseball field, the Bears and hot dogs? It's like, okay, yeah, that's on brand for the account. But this notion of, wow, look how original and authentic this account is, and how it rose to the ranks of being an online persona and being original and really clawing its way out of the pit of online creations where competition's very difficult. And look, it got noticed by Netflix. How amazing is that? That's how it's introduced. And then we all discover, oh, that's not the actual case. It wasn't the merit of the actual Twitter account being original, being organic, that got it launched into a series on Netflix. It's because, according to my research, and I'm pretty sure this is the case, the folks who created the show have industry ties. They work for Netflix, and then they've done work for SNL. They have a filmography and active connections in Hollywood. And that's not a bad thing. That's fine. That's just the way the game is played. But to be told, like, look at this Twitter account that got so lucky and rose through the ranks and got picked up by Netflix because it's just that original and that good. No, that's not the case. Let's be real. At least I really don't believe that's the case. I could be wrong, but I don't believe it. The show was created by three people. Chris Witaski, if I'm saying your name correctly. This is the guy who runs the Twitter account. Then you got like Katie Rich, who like worked on SNL, and then someone called John Barinholtz. And for the Chris guy, because I mentioned Netflix and connections, he was an actor on a show called Love, which was like an original show on Netflix back in like 2017. I never heard of it, which is not to say it wasn't popular. I just never heard of it. And the maelstrom of content that's thrown up on streaming platforms, especially Netflix, it's not uncommon for us to like miss popular series completely and go, wait, that was a thing? What was that? I missed it. Revolving door at Netflix. But I personally believe that's how the show got picked up. Netflix connections. You got a guy who works at Netflix, and of course it makes sense for him to probably pitch a show and Netflix would go, sure, here's money, do it. And once more, there's nothing wrong with that. I just think it's weird that they present it like it was like the account's own merit that gained that level of accomplishment. I digress. So the entire shtick of this account, of the show itself, of what they're trying to take aim at is Chicago. And it's not uncommon for shows and characters to be solely based around geographical locations like New York, LA, London, Paris, and then you got Chicago. It's just that Chicago, despite having qualities and unique, iconic things about its people and its city and its culture, like, yeah, I can acknowledge that. And this is no, like, insult to the people of Chicago. It might be, I don't know. It's like, you got your hot dogs and your Cubs and your Bears and whatnot. But to me, it's like, was this show worthy of getting, like, its own series? Just to go, hey, Chicago. And that was my big question while going into the series. I know enough about New York. I've never been there, but thanks to the Alvin and the Chipmunk movies, I know enough about New York. Same thing with LA. I know about the culture. I'm a lot more aware with it. And you got something like BoJack Horseman where it's like based in Hollywood, quote unquote, Hollywood. And I know enough about that culture, that neck of the woods, to understand like the comings and goings of a celebrity or the craziness of something like New York City with like 30 Rock. That makes sense. For Chicago, there's only so much acknowledging of Chicago landmarks and ways of life until I'm like, you're losing me here. Can the show carry it? Can the stories carry it? Can the characters carry it? And here's my answer. Kinda. I now bring up another elephant in the room. State of adult animation. It's a hot topic conversation, very turbulent, and it's so easy for us to go, it's all Simpsons clones, it's all Rick and Morty clones, it's all Family Guy clones. And I'm guilty of that rhetoric myself sometimes. But I would say it's a bit of column A, a bit of column B. Yes, you got things like Solar Opposites, which is like obviously inspired by Rick and Morty. You got things like The Prince, which is obviously inspired by Family Guy. Oh my God, The Prince is awful. It's like a Family Guy skit that would not end. Then you got something like Mother, which I reviewed not too long ago. I bring it up because it's like they called it the woman's version of Family Guy. And when Chicago Party Aunt, I call it Aunt because I'm weird like that, but Chicago Party Aunt, when I was making the rounds on Twitter, folks are like, hey, Saber, it's like your Mother Up video. And I'm like, oh, because it's a female lead as an adult animated family sitcom. I'm like, okay, I get that similarity. We'll see what happens. And by all means, I know it's so easy for us to give into our outrage and be like, I hate it. I haven't watched it, but I hate it. I get it, okay? We're a very reactionary species, especially with the internet and articles and how information goes at the speed of light. I get it. But I had to pump my brakes. I wanted to watch the show. And I did. And I was whelmed. Maybe my expectations were so low, and that's why my opinion of it is just average. So, yes, acknowledging that the show is all about the realm of Chicago, as I've said ad nauseum, but then you got like Diane, our main character, voiced by Lauren Ash. By the way, the voice acting is great in the show. I like it. Though there are some parts where I'm like, I'd take it on your word if this is a Chicago accent or not, because I have no idea. I'm curious to see what folks from Chicago think about this show. It seems that they're pretty split, where they're like, I love it, or I hate it. Let me know in the comments. If you're from Chicago, let me know what you think. But the voice acting was fine. And the characters themselves, Diane, main character, she's the Chicago Party Aunt. She is irreverent. She is outrageous. And she is like this 40-year-old woman with a Karen haircut. And she lives for like the baseball, all the iconics of Chicago. That's what she's about. It's rough around the edges. She'll speak her mind. She'll drown herself in alcohol and have sex. And she's the crazy wild aunt. That's the point of the show. Then there's her nephew. Oh God, Daniel, I think is his name. I forget. Scott the Woz. And he looked like Scott the Woz. But then you got the nephew of the aunt. He was going to go to Stanford. He wasn't ready, decided to take a year to himself. He lives with his aunt. His parents own the location, the apartment, and the sisters don't really see eye to eye, but they kind of have their moments where they come closer. And for what it's worth, it's like, okay, the characters actually have some compelling elements to them where the nephew's gay and he wants to explore that. He wants to find his independence. Okay, I'm fine with that. The aunt kind of gives me, and I'm saying this in the kindest way possible, BoJack vibes, just ever so slightly, where I think she's coming to terms with being like, I gotta be better, and maybe I am living in the past. Just hints of that, just hints. And I hope they keep pushing that forward. Because in a show like this, you can only do the Chicago stuff so often until you need some good character traits to push the show forward. And hopefully we'll get that. So Diane, for the first few episodes, obnoxious. She's kind of hard to really follow along or root for. But she's got moments where she actually like does something that's caring or stands up for somebody, or her abrasive nature actually lends itself over to other friends or family or whatever. Okay, I'm following. I'm not like gleefully following the stories, but I'll watch. So that was my entire take from the entire show, was the jokes, the dialogue, hit or miss, some okay ones. Not ever to the point where I wanted to turn off my TV. The characters, okay, at least there's something here to follow compared to like The Prince, which I'll say again was like the quintessential Family Guy clone garbage. That is the worst offender so far, in my opinion. And then the animation's fine. Yes, it's channeling that Family Guy energy, which is not like a unforgivable sin. All I'm saying is adult animation doesn't have to be just Family Guy. And when you do get that, when you got something like, hey, we can do Primal and Chicago Party on, I'm like, okay, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. We got some variety. All in all, to wrap up my ranting ways, Chicago Party on is not garbage. It's not complete trash. It's not amazing either. It's just average, maybe slightly below average. That's where I put it. And maybe, again, my expectations were so low going into it. That's why I see it as just meh. Though I do take issue with this entire, like, oh, the Twitter account's so original. It's what got the attention of Netflix. Stop that. I don't want to hear that, especially with the people who obviously have connections to Netflix. Please don't lie to me. Don't make it seem like that's the reason why you got your show launched, all right? Just launch your show, do your thing, own up to it. And also, like, as far as the Twitter account goes, oh, here's the last big gripe I have. There's an episode where the aunt, Diane, gets, like, a smartphone. She's like, how do I work this darn thing or whatever? She's obviously, like, technologically inept. But then the entire premise of the show is launched from her Twitter account, which requires a certain level of nuance when it comes to understanding social media. So, you know, that's a bit of a backpedaling there. It doesn't really line up. Whatever, it's not a big deal. So those are my overall quick vid thoughts about Chicago Party on. Apparently there's 8 episodes left here to still go. They did like 1 season, but they cut it in half a release. Huh, okay. But if you've seen it, let me know what you think in the comments. I'm curious. This one's an interesting one. Not like in an excellent way or a terrible way, just kind of a, that's a thing kind of way. So the Bears and the Bows and the hot dogs and the Portillos and other iconic things in Chicago that the rest of the country doesn't care about. Yeah, I went there. So a big shout out to this video sponsor, Sheath. I love when a sponsor is like, just have fun. Talk about what you want, tell us what you like, and just keep it casual. And I was like, hey, shut up. And you know what? I do love your product. My junk likes your product. Has it come to this? Am I referring to my own genitalia in a video? I suppose so. Okay, so legit. Sheath is like the best underpants I've ever worn, by a long shot. Here I thought that the boxer briefs that I had were like top tier. Oh, look at that. You can put them on and your junk is kind of just hanging loose. Not with Sheath. No, sir. They got compartments in this underwear. You can put your boys in a pouch and secure it. That way they're not smacking around your thighs. I've been wearing these things for like a month and a half now. Not like wearing it from day one nonstop. That would be gross. I mean rotating it. And genuinely, they're my favorite underpants. I seek through my underwear drawer being like, where are my Sheath? I gotta wear them to the gym. I gotta wear them throughout the day. They keep my junk secured and not bopping around my pants. I wish I knew about this technology years ago. Would have been nice to keep my boys from smacking my thighs. Don't you guys love it that my cartoon avatar with no lower body is talking about junk? What if I did have a lower body with junk? But I do like that Sheath is designed to keep your balls off your legs. Like I said, you got 3 individual compartments to keep everything down there separate and cool and comfortable. You chafe less and you readjust less as well because everything is secured. Also, because everything is secured, there's less of a smell. That was an unexpected side effect, but welcome nonetheless. I mean, this idea was invented by a US Army soldier who came up with the idea for Sheath during his second tour in Iraq, where he's like, it's hot as hell, and my boys need to breathe. Ta-da! Sheath underpants. He invented these underwear to keep your boys cool and comfortable. He's like the Albert Einstein of underwear. So guys, don't take my jokes as like me just trying to goof around. I legit love these underpants. Once I started using them, I got rid of my old ones because, like, why go back? This compartment is top notch. I use it all the time. I'm using it right now. So if you want to keep your junk secured and cool, click the link down below and use the code SaberSpark at checkout. Or go to sheathunderwear.com/SaberSpark for 20% off your order. I'm all about it, so should you. Go check it out. Your boys downstairs will thank you. I know that mine do. Giggity.